welcome to episode 4 of Geekageddon. Today I've got John. I fucking hate every movie I see, and Mr. 7 out of 10 himself, Spencer Cosford.
Not every movie. There's at least one good one.
At least one. Gonna make you a thing called Mr. 7 out of 10 every time. Anyways,
I'm not giving that intro 7. That's for sure.
I told you there's more coming.
We should rename the show 3 Idiots on a do a podcast, and all 3 idiots could be Spencer.
That's a bit harsh. Right, so
I'm the only one that actually goes and watches.
Well, there is that also. So today we're covering.
I watch a lot of things, just not new crappy movies.
Because you're a recluse, you're hiding in your house too much, right? There's a big world out there.
Right. So we're covering a few films today. I think we get straight into it. I don't need to do a host of what we're doing. Everyone knows what we're doing. We're talking about movies and stuff and TV shows and things, and we've got a load to go through.
Beware of potential spoilers.
Yes, beware of spoilers.
Oh, yeah, there will definitely be spoilers.
Also, like and subscribe. Geeky Jerseys, do all that stuff. It's you'll love it if you do. There's great jerseys on there. Today you can see me and Spen aren't wearing jerseys because in the UK it's stupidly fucking hot, so we're not wearing jerseys. John, the other hand's got aircon, so he's just fine. Anyway, right, let's move on. We're going to talk. The first movie we're going to talk about, it's been on screen for ages. We're going to talk about The Imaginary, which I have seen, and
that movie is fantastic.
And well, it was good. It was good. I did enjoy it. Just the dodgy English accents really fucking hacked me off for ages. Once I got past that, it was alright.
On Netflix. I don't think it got a theatrical release, did it?
No. Straight Netflix. Straight for Netflix. But it was alright. It was good. I thought it started a bit.
Studio Pana,
yeah.
Who is mostly Studio Ghibli people that have moved on to this other studio.
Yeah, it started a bit slow.
And you can tell when you watch it, it's very Ghibli.
Oh yeah. Exactly. Like that.
The thing that threw me about it was the fact it was set in England, which, you know, seeing a Studio Ghibli movie set in England was really weird as well.
Well, it's not Ghibli, it's Pana.
I mean, it feels so much like a Ghibli.
You're
watching a Ghibli. And to see it in England, I mean, I think what was the one with the witch? Kiki's Delivery Service was in kind of a French kind of town, from what I remember.
Yeah.
Whereas this is very much in the UK.
Howl's Moving Castle was in a lot of places, not just Japan.
I think it's more
really Japan.
a modern UK, because there's a bit in a
there is, yeah.
Like that. I think that I'm so used to seeing castles and, you know, like Victorian and old London, to suddenly see, well, what we're living in was really weird for me.
Yeah, but no, I enjoyed it. It was good. It was animation was fantastic.
I would give everybody the same warning that I gave Spencer before he watched it with his kids. If you have young kids, you might want to watch it first, because even though it is rated PG, they deal with death quite a bit. Without ruining anything, you kind of watch somebody die, and then you watch someone get murdered, and in front of you, and it's definitely permanent. So before you show it to young children, you may want to review.
Nah, I thought it was alright. I totally could show it to a young child.
Oh, no, I think there's J horror elements as well with the sort of baddie sidekick. She's quite creepy.
Yeah, like the two villains of the piece, one of them looks like Samara from The Ring.
Totally.
The other one eats imaginaries through his mouth with like a rotating spiral of shark teeth or something. Like, it's for children. I don't know what age you would say would be appropriate. Definitely, I would say older than 6
I would probably say from 8. 10 years up, maybe. Yeah. I think
it's a beautiful movie. The story's amazing. It does have a happy ending, but to get to that happy ending, you might have to explain death to your children, and you might also have to explain what murder is, because you watched that shit happen.
Just lightsaber. Just lightsaber for the heart. No, it was good. It was very good. Like I was start off with, I was a bit like, fucking dragging a bit. It was doing me head in. And when it got into it,
on the disc, I would buy it. Yeah. Like, it would add it to my Ghibli collection for sure.
Yeah. Once it started getting going, it was good. Enjoyed it. It was very good.
And if you watch it, it is clearly the inspiration.
Oh yeah, it's totally that film.
Like I would imagine John Krasinski read that story to his kids, the story that is the Imaginaries, and then he's like, I bet I can turn this into a kids movie without all the death and murder in it, and that's where If came from, because the plot points are almost exactly
Well,
the same.
the old dog and the teddy bear, the bear out of If, exactly the same fucking character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he literally just took parts of it and cut out the death part and the
it's a
villain part.
sanitized version, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
And then added a sprinkle of Ryan Reynolds on it because he's movie gold.
It did actually surprise me that it went straight to Netflix, because I actually think it was worthy of a theatrical release. Maybe it's because it was going up against If that they kind of pulled back on it. I don't know, but to me it would have hit the same appeal as a Ghibli film, and they tend to get.
But do Netflix generally, because it's a Pontiac movie for Netflix, they don't generally do.
No, they also don't do usually DVD or Blu-ray releases, which means I may never get to actually own that movie.
Yeah, which is annoying in itself, definitely. For us physical media collectors,
I ain't got the space for that stuff. Keep it all
rapidly running out, that's for sure.
Right, so let's move on. So we agree. Well, ratings first.
I would give the Imaginaries a 9 or a 10, and the only reason, like, it's a 10 for me and maybe a 9 for someone with kids, because I don't know how you would, like, it's definitely going to be interesting to watch it with children if you have children under 10 years old. I could see that being a problem for some people. But for me, like, I would give it a 10 if it was just me watching it, because it's just such an amazing movie.
Give it about, well, I thought it was right. I'd give it about an 8, maybe.
I know the score I want to give it, but I'm a bit scared to say. The animation definitely.
The animation was quality. It was really good, really good. Yeah,
I don't
quality.
think it quite hit the feels for me as maybe a Studio Ghibli, or the animation level of something like Your Name or Weathering with You. I can't remember the studio that do them, but they're like peak at the minute. So I think it fits somewhere in between. So I'll probably give it an 8-1. But for the story, for the animation, I'd probably give it 9. I think the animation was beautiful.
The animation is beautiful. I wouldn't be. I'd be very surprised if it didn't get nominated for animation stuff.
Best animated feature. It deserves it.
I think the only downside is it's going to go up against The Boy and the Heron.
I actually think it was better than.
I thought it was better than Boy and the Heron. Boy and the Heron was confusing as shit.
I rewatched The Boy and the Heron twice.
We spoke about this, didn't we? It's very confusing.
I rewatched it twice, and I've even read a few reviews from like psychologists to try and understand it.
Yeah.
As far as I could tell, The Boy and the Heron makes sense up until he gets to the tower at the end, and then there's like a parakeet king, and he has to climb the tower, and the old man has building blocks. It falls apart at that point, and I don't know if it's if there's something about Japanese culture that I am not grasping when I watch it, but a lot of people don't get the end of that movie. Up to then, it's beautiful, and the story is fine. It's no problem with it. It's just when you get there, and all of a sudden, it's like, what is happening, and why does he have blocks, and why does that mean the universe is going to explode?
Like maybe kind of semi-autobiographical for Miyazaki, and it's all metaphorical of him building a universe, or I don't know, because it was supposed to be his last film, wasn't it?
I don't know. I fell asleep and woke up right at the end.
I'm not done. I'm making another
one. He's going to keep going. He's pretty prolific.
I fell asleep and woke up at the end where it was all confusing, so I have no fucking clue what was happening. Anyways, right, let's move on.
These feelings on animation these days.
No, yeah. Well, I was doing that partially to wind you both up, but also they are for kids, yes. But I do enjoy animation from a technical standpoint because it's very.
Yeah, I'm gonna go and show my 4-year-old Invincible after this.
Yeah, fucking right. That's quality. That's animated beautifully. It's so good, and the story's good as well.
I absolutely love it, but I don't think it's for kids. That's for sure.
Ah, yeah, it totally is.
It's a lot of bloody, but there's nothing. I mean, there's swear words and blood, but I mean that's not unheard of in movies and stuff today. I'm sure your kid's seen that.
Maybe not to that level though.
Anyway, right. So let's move on to the one and only Axel F. Me and Spencer watched this. John, you haven't watched this, have you?
I didn't watch it.
Oh, haven't you watched it? I thought you said you watched it. Oh, well, I'll just be.
To back out of it. Sorry, dude.
All right, sorry.
You're on your own.
I decided not to.
I'm on my own. Well, this will be really quick. I thought it was all right. It had loads of references to the old ones, which was cool. Had some of the old characters in it. The dude that played one of the police guys in it from the original one, the younger one, looks more like Mickey Rourke than Mickey Rourke looks like Mickey Rourke, which is hilarious. It's just, I think they did all right. Well, I'm an easy film guy, so it ticked boxes. It had action in it, had good jokes in it. Well,
how was the action level?
Yeah, it was alright. It was good. Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
Quality or
yeah, no, it was good. The problem is because I've got 4K TV or whatever it is these days and everything looks really shit. So all the special effects look really bad. And we even said the other day we should have just kept the old TV and watched on that. It probably looks alright. But yeah, it was alright. The special effects are okay. They yeah, it was alright. It does what it says on the tin. It's just one of those straight.
What are you giving it? Solid 6?
No, I'll have to give it a solid. Yeah, well, yeah, 6 would be. Yeah, because it's just average. It's not a great movie. It's not a shit movie.
Yeah,
it just sits nice in the middle.
Kind of fits in that.
Yeah.
It is a Netflix again, straight to Netflix, so that kind of puts it immediately a level of probably mid for me.
Yeah, and like again, Eddie Murphy's alright in it. He's funny in it. They hark back to old jokes and stuff, which is a nice kind of like.
Well, it did that film called Dolomite Is My Name on Netflix.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. I need to watch it. Yeah, but like but yeah, it just harks back to some of the old jokes and everything that, which is like takes you on a nostalgia trip and things like that, and things. Even visits the hotel that he stayed at in the original one and stuff, and there's kind of a bit of a joke there and things.
Didn't he used to stick bananas up people's?
Yeah. In the first one. No, he doesn't do that in this, but it leads you to believe he was going to do that, and you're like, oh my god, that'd be funny. But it was two of them meta reference, I think.
Yeah. And I imagine they played that music to death throughout the film as well.
Only here and there, actually not that much. Right at the beginning, they played literally the first half of the film, they literally just played every song from the original soundtrack, like literally, it was fucking
like a jukebox.
Yeah, my wife was even like, she goes like, it's just like a reference back to the 80s, like a nod to the 80s for like 20 minutes. But yeah, it was alright. It was good, solid 6. So leave it at that. And then the other one we both have seen is, we'll talk about this again, Quiet Place, because I've actually seen it now.
Yeah, Quiet Place day 1.
Yeah, it was very, very good.
Now, is it a Quiet Place or a Quiet Place? Because those are two different movies.
Quiet Place.
So, and Andy's autocorrect jumped in, I think, on his WhatsApp messaging earlier.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, that was Grammarly correcting it for me. Yeah, it was good. I really enjoyed it. I thought the acting was very good.
I thought it was a solid entry. A lot of people complained that you didn't find out anything about the aliens that we didn't.
No, but I kind of already like that though. Yeah, because
they're not going to turn around and start speaking in English and saying we've come here for your.
Yeah, I think they kind of misconstrued it because it was more about. Again, it's like all the other two about the humans in it, right? And
it's about
the fact and trying to survive, and that's what it was about. I found
it was a more intimate. Again, with the other one was to do with the family. And it kind of expanded out a little bit. This was more to do with a couple.
Yeah. I thought the threat level in this was higher because obviously, because they're in the city and it's noisy and the threat level was a lot higher.
Really, I thought it was really good. Yeah. Really good freak.
And I'm looking at the picture. I don't know if you've had a chance to see it, but even talking to my wife, I went, "Do you not think he looks like?" She went, "What, Lex Luthor?" And I went, "Yes," because he looks like Gene Hackman in his posters.
Okay.
But I thought he did in the film as well. It looked like a young Gene Hackman, which is crazy.
I think he was good.
He was really good. I thought they were both very good. She was very, very good.
He's definitely breaking out, Joseph Quinn, because we'll get to him later on with one of the trailers.
But I think also
Stranger Things, just from that one role he's had, he suddenly seems to be everywhere.
That I think the cat stole the whole film though for us.
Oh yeah, the cat was fun.
Cat was good.
It was a little bit like Richard Linklater's Before Sunrise, those Sunrise trilogy films, just about a relationship developing between two characters that just had a backdrop of an alien invasion in New York. So it was almost romantic with, man-eating aliens going on in the background.
Yeah. And what I found was interesting was he went from like her saving him almost to him saving her, back to her saving him in the end.
Yeah, well,
because at one point she was like proper fucked up, and he was like, just no, come on, like.
We can't go too much
yeah.
into the emotional side, but it was kind of full circle for her character. It was really cathartic at the end. It's a good film, definitely.
Yeah, that was good. So that was good. I'll give it a solid 8.
I gave it an 8. Yeah, it's really good.
Right, so let the movies move on to. Oh no, quickly spend. So I haven't done the graph for it yet, but
I'm the only one who's been watching movies lately.
Yeah.
So I'm a big horror fan, and suddenly there's a load of horror films.
I did see, like we'll get to it in a second, but I did see on that one, the Violent Nature one, the yoga scene on Instagram.
Have you seen it?
No, I saw the yoga scene, and I was like, that's fucking hilarious.
Oh my god, that's one of the most brutal kills.
Yeah, it was brilliant. It was so good. We'll talk about it in a second. So what we're going to do now is I will make a graph for it, but Mr. 7 out of 10 is going to do his 30-second movie reviews.
Well, I'm just going to go through everything I've seen recently. I went to see, I'm going to read my Twitter reviews, it's probably easier. Kalki 2898 AD, which is the most expensive Bollywood film ever made. Kind of a sci-fi that blends in elements of Dune, Blade Runner, Mad Max and Star Wars into a 3-hour kind of very over-the-top epic. It's kind of messy, but if you go with an open mind, it's really fun, and some of the fight sequences are bonkers. So I gave that a 6 out of 10.
How many dance numbers do they break into?
Sort of one, almost. It's a bit more serious. Then I went to see Maxxine, which completes the Ty West trilogy, which started with X and then did a prequel called Pearl, set in a kind of a retro sleazy 80s LA, playing upon like satanic panic and a serial killer going around at the time. It wasn't quite as shocking as the last two, but it was still kind of fun. It's got a cool retro vibe, and Mia Goth totally owns it, so I gave that a 7 out of 10. Then this one, Kill. This is an Indian version of basically The Raid, set on a train heading into Delhi. It's kind of a little bit John Wick. Easily one of the most violent, bloody films I've ever seen in my life. I think they're actually remaking it for Hollywood, but I imagine they'll probably sanitize a lot of the violence. I thought it was awesome. From a pure martial arts point of view, I'd give that a 9 out of 10. If you like violent John Wick or The Raid, you've got to see it. Next, though, which Andy was mentioned, In a Violent Nature, kind of an art house slasher following a Jason Voorhees type serial killer as he moves through the woods stalking teenage prey. It's got no actual movie soundtrack other than sort of ambient noise, so it's quite art house, but the kills are absolutely brutal.
That yoga one's amazing.
Yeah, very slow paced. It's kind of Marmite. I give it a 6 out of 10, but I think it'll become kind of a cult curiosity.
It's like as he starts like pulling her hair through stuff. But it's so funny. I was watching it just like I was like, okay, and then I was carrying watching it. I was like, this came up on Instagram. I was watching the clip, and I was like, okay. And I was like, all right. I was like, oh, all right, that's funny. And I was like, oh, it gets worse. And I was like, okay. And it just carried on. I was like, nah, he's not. And then he just kept going. Like, all right, steady on. And then he just boots her brutally off the side of the cliff. It's hilarious.
Well, the last one I saw was Longlegs, which is kind of very much a freaky serial killer, a little bit Silence of the Lambs kind of vibe. Nick Cage puts in a really bizarre performance, really memorable as the serial killer. Again, it ties in with a satanic panic thing. There's a lot of Satanism references. Very well put together, really moody, real sense of dread. Maika Monroe from It Follows is the kind of the heroine. She's excellent. Probably 8 out of 10. I might even score it higher on a rewatch. But I was coming off the back of a double bill. And my brain was probably a bit frazzled. But Nick Cage, they'll be talking about that performance for years. Absolutely unhinged. So there you go. That's what I've been watching recently.
There's a lot. Right, so move on to TV shows, and I think we're all up to date, aren't we, with House of the Dragon, or House of Who Really Gives a Shit.
I will admit, we'd had one half of a good episode.
Yeah.
It's got to be the dragon fight.
The dragon fight was quality. It was so good.
That whole battle with the dragons and the whatever and the death, like that was the only good part of 2 seasons of this show so far.
It wouldn't be that harsh, but it was the highlight. I'm not going to deny it. It was what we've been waiting for to finally see.
It's not the levels of Joffrey level death, but do you think he's actually, well, spoilers we're going to talk about. Do you think Aegon's actually dead?
I know he's still alive.
He's still alive. In the next episode, he's still alive.
Oh, is he? Right, okay, because like...
Yeah, but he's not in much of a state to do a lot.
He's in a coma, tons of bones are broken, half his face is burned off.
Nice.
And, they don't know how much internal damage there is. I can't imagine he'll live very long. I don't think his brother's going to let him live. I think his brother is going to take any opportunity to, like, kill him.
I think he'll be pillow over the face.
Well, he looked like he was gonna kill him as he was walking up to him, and then like obviously Cole turned up and he was like, "Wait!" And he's like,
"Oh." Alone with his brother yet? I think he's gonna at some point, like if his brother starts getting well, maybe regains consciousness. I think the other brother will just like hire somebody to sneak in and do it because.
He'll probably begin by taunting him while he's on the bed because he's quite sadistic, and I think he's got a lot of payback in him. I think he'll taunt him.
Well, I think the fact that you fireballed him was payback for the fact what happened in the brothel. Like that's what that was. They embarrassed him, so he was like, "No, I'm gonna mess him up."
I think this brother though will be a better king. Like I think. He's more vindictive, but I also think he is more logical than the one that. That's about to die, basically.
I've been kind of enjoying the slow pace of the kind of seeing the pieces move into position. It's like watching a game of Risk or something. I know it's not been the best.
Incorrect.
I'm quite enjoying it. I've got to admit.
Just mute his mic for a while. He's wrong.
No,
I agree with what you say about not liking the characters particularly, but from a kind of a war front, I am quite intrigued to see all the different ways, you know, they're looking at different sectors to take over
that started to become more apparent though. Like in the last episodes, they were kind of just talking about it, but now they're kind of actually like when they started going, oh, he's attacking Rook's Rest, and it's like, why are they attacking that? And then like
that bridge, that dam.
Yeah, and then he's kind of then his brother come in. His brother's like, you want to do it because we'll cut them off from every angle, and then we can attack the other place. Just makes sense to cut their legs off and then attack the other place so they can't get across.
I'm finding that quite intriguing.
And I'm kind of intrigued with what's going on with Matt Smith's character at Harrenhal.
I'm not going to say it's the best show, and it's
no.
near House of Game of Thrones level, but it's got enough to keep me watching at the minute. I'll go back.
There are glaring logic mistakes, though. Like Harrenhal was burned by dragonfire. It melted the rocks. Yet when the dragonfire hit the king on his dragon, it only slightly burned his face.
Yeah, but that might have been sustained like for ages, like kind of melting it.
It'd be like in a video game when you hold your finger down on the button for long, where it powers up the moon.
He's like Dracarys, and he's like fucking burnt out.
Was at full power.
Yeah.
When he did that, and you know,
it's poor writing, is what it is.
Well, we'll be getting onto poor writing later with contention.
Well, I think again, it's a slow burn. Excuse the pun.
Yeah.
But again, don't, like we said last time, don't really care about the characters. Not really that invested.
Yeah.
But
not one of them is anyone that I care about. I cared more about Joffrey, and I hated Joffrey.
Yeah, the only character I'm really intrigued in. I'm intrigued in that because that's something that's going on that's a bit kind of outside of what we've already been treated to. But
here's the thing: you care about Matt Smith because he was the Doctor, because we loved him as the Doctor.
Just
like if David Tennant was in a bad show, I would love David Tennant in the show, and I would hate the show. And it's the same thing with Matt Smith. Like, he was a great Doctor. We loved him as the Doctor. This role is just garbage, and I could care less about
the character I am intrigued is his brother. Like, I think we need more of him when he just looks menacing, right? He's just got a look about him. Yeah. He just he's more intriguing than any other character.
Well, it will be interesting now that he is in control because he is more, like I said, he's more vindictive, but he is also more logical.
Oh,
so it seems like he would make the better king, but he is definitely going to be the burn them all king.
Well, the thing is he immediately cut down all the bodies of the rat catchers and stuff like that. You know, just cleaning house,
fixing the mistakes that his brother did.
That, yeah,
the first thing he did was fix authority.
Yeah, completely. So I agree.
Because he's the logical, but at the same time, like I said, I think he's going to be the burn them all, just like the Mad King.
I think he has the logic.
Anybody who gets in his way, he's just going to light them on
fire.
Yeah,
I think he has the logic of the hand, but then, like you said, but the ruthlessness of a king. Like the hand. I can't remember the dude's name now. Guy from whatever his daughter's fucking name.
Siphons, I know the actor.
Yeah. But like he was very Hightower, that was it. He's very calculated and assessing the risk and the impacts of what's going on. Is where the King Egan's like, no, fucking just do it anyway, regardless.
His Aemon looks like a live action anime.
He does. You know, I think that's the other thing that intrigues me about him as well. He does like even when he was in that brothel scene. Yeah.
100%.
Even that brothel scene the other week. It's like
he looks like Sephiroth from Final Fantasy.
Yeah, he's just like proper skinny, ripped as fuck. Like it just looks like straight out of an anime. Like cricketers. But anyways, yeah. So House Dragon's still on the go, and now we're going to talk John's favourite Acolyte.
No, do the boys first.
Oh, do you want to do the boys first? Oh, well, now you've ruined my slides. Thanks so much.
Hold on, I've not seen the final episode, so I might have to leave the room if you want to talk about that.
I haven't watched it either because I told you I wouldn't.
Good lad.
And I don't think Andy.
No, I didn't have a chance to. The iPad ran out of battery.
Okay, so we talk up.
Yeah.
We'll do the final episode.
I was in the process of right.
We all had to wait for the last episode, so we wouldn't.
Yeah. So we'll have to talk about it again. But I had to write a research piece this afternoon, so I didn't have a chance to.
I'm watching it right now, but I'm recording this for you guys, so sacrifices have to be made.
I'll watch it once we've finished. So far,
sacrifice the time it would take to watch it, but you won't send your children to orphanages the way I've suggested many times.
John's got a very hardline approach to parenthood. So don't know if it's a Canadian thing, but I'm going to be taking tips from him actually. He talks some sense from time to time.
See, do what Andy did. He got rid of one of his kids. He says, "We're on the other one."
Is that the one that's buried in the garden?
Apparently,
he doesn't have enough room to bury the other one in the garden. He's got to figure something else.
No, that's why we got the conservatory built. No, it's good. But it's got better, right? Like it started a bit.
Better. I thought it got off to a bit of a rough start.
Yeah. But it has improved a lot.
Really
yeah.
I'm starting to wonder if that thing in Butcher's head is going to get out.
Won't create itself like
I wonder,
an entity.
I wonder if it is becoming a separate entity.
That would be cool.
That would be quite cool.
And then at some point, it's going to because remember when the stretchy guy was Ezekiel. Remember when Ezekiel dies? That little tentacles can't have done that. It has to have reached out by quite a bit. If it was going to rip
it must. Yeah, like I was saying to you, it must have been that.
Like
but
a being growing inside of him, and at some point it's going to come out, and its appearance will be that of Jeffrey Dean Morgan,
kind of like a Venom type thing, like a symbiote.
Yeah. And that'll be what the cancer is, and he hasn't actually got cancer. It's that growing inside him.
And then Butcher's not dying anymore because the tentacle monster thing that's growing in him is out. Because you can't drag on the Butcher's gonna die any minute for a whole nother season. We've been hearing it every episode of this season. They can't be like, there's another 8 episodes of this episode, Butcher might die. This episode, Butcher might die. This episode, Butcher might die.
They need a hook to make the character more interesting again, because he's kind of...
He's gone off the boil a little bit, isn't he?
Homelander steals every episode. I think they need...
I mean, I would be willing to bet Butcher and Homelander kill each other in the end.
Oh, totally. We talked about this at work today.
I don't think he survives it.
No,
but I just don't want to hear Butcher might die this episode for another 8 episodes.
Well, I think the kid, is it Ryan will kill Homelander?
Yeah, I reckon he will switch. Because he started to see that switch in him in the last episode, do you know what I mean? Where he was like, no, this is fucking nonsense, this is bullshit. And then he's like... And because I think he's starting to see what's going on. I think, firecracker chick.
He can kill his own dad. I don't know if he could. I don't know if he's powerful enough to kill his own father.
We don't know how. What if it was a situation where he had to, or Homelander was about to kill another busload?
I don't know. I don't know if his power. What I'm saying is, I don't know if he's powerful enough to kill his own father.
Not yet, but we got another season.
They might time jump it. I think the firecracker's starting to realise how deep she was in when he ripped the web weaver in half, and she was like, "Oh shit, I'm a bit too deep."
It does have some of the most inventive gore on TV.
Yeah, it does. But and also the most rank stuff as well, where she's just like, "Yeah, I did this for you." like spraying him with.
That episode before with the torture chamber and everything.
That was hilarious.
That was tough.
We finished.
Just seeing the Spider-Man dude squirting out that hole in his back was gross.
We finished that episode, and I said to my wife, I went, "Oh, we've got to try and unpack this when we talk about it." And she goes, "Why do you want to unpack it?" And I was like, "To be fair, I might just pack it away, put it away, and never talk about it ever again, because I'm not."
I did with the human centipede sequence in the first episode.
It like proper dud it and put it in the back of my head.
That's one of the worst things I think I've ever seen on that show.
It's just one of those things where you're just like, oh my god, it just went to another level.
Just keep pushing it.
It does. You just kind of like. I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was like, "Oh yeah, no, that dude, that Tech Knight dude." And I said, "Yeah, but he's from Gen V." And my friend hadn't watched Gen V. I was like, "What's Gen V?" Because
Gen V's funny.
like, yeah. And I said because you even get reference to the two other characters that survived. Like
I don't think they've done enough with them yet.
No, I think, but it's nice to see that there's the crossover's working, right? That they're in that as well.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the animated one they did, but I don't know if any characters from that are in.
Yeah, I've not watched that yet.
But like,
I've watched it. It's not so much that it's like a crossover thing. It's just a bunch of shorts, really.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's
just a bunch of like interesting shorts with characters who have powers, but it's not.
It, actually, now you say the shorts thing, I think I have watched it actually.
I think
the one with the group home full of like really stupid powered superheroes.
Yes, I have watched it. It's so long ago now, I've forgotten about it. Some
of the characters do appear in some of the shorts, but they're not really like the big stars. It's just more like
a baby, isn't there? Like it was pretty funny actually. They're more played for laughs, aren't they?
I liked the thing I sent you guys the other day on Instagram, like the deep thoughts with the deep, which is hilarious. He's such a goofball character, but it's so like them things, like the marketing for those things. It's just, like it came up on my feed, and I'm like, "What is this?" And I watched it. I was like, "Oh my god, that's genius!" I watched it one morning when I got up. It came up, and I was just laughing for ages. I don't know.
So many times.
And
how has he not been ripped apart by Homelander?
And he got his ass handed to him as well, like properly beaten up by Starlight and stuff. And I thought she crushed his head.
One of them was gonna die.
Yeah. Well, when she lifted up the thing, and I was like, "Oh, she's gonna mess him up." She just dropped it on his face. I thought she was gonna do it.
When we watched it, someone's dying in this scene. Someone's not gonna. One of the main characters is gonna get it. But I think there's still room for that. I mean, we've got the A-Chain redemption thing going on. I mean, maybe he could be the sacrificial pawn at some point.
Well, but I think he's on the cards. Maybe. Oh, we haven't watched this episode of it. I think he's on the cards to die, but I think he'll have a pivotal part to play before he does. Like because
story with him.
Because he's realised he's a hero, right? He's like
and stuff. Yeah.
Because when he was telling about the kid outside the hospital and looked at him like he was a hero, and he's
scene.
Like, that's the first time someone naturally has looked at him like he's a hero, and it's not all Vought paying people to look at him.
Yeah, I thought that was a really nice touch.
Yeah, I thought that was one of his nephews as well, but it wasn't. But
the only thing that I'm wondering about the show is they've been talking about the virus. And to make a virus strong enough to kill Homelander, it is also going to kill every soup on the planet. And the only question I have is, the fact that they've mentioned it and brought it up enough times, does that mean it's going to happen?
Yeah, possibly.
So, is that how the show ends? Like, the virus gets released and every soup dies and Huey is going to lose Starlight and everybody is just going to die, and then the show goes back to just being like, oh, this is what Earth is like now without superheroes? Or is there going to be another resolution to it?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens with that, because like I said, they have mentioned it multiple times now, and it's like, well, is it a real MacGuffin? It's just trying to throw you off the trail of what's going to happen, or is it actually in the end
whether
that
they
is
get the virus wrong and it actually wipes out humanity, and the soups are the only ones left behind?
Yeah, it could go the opposite way.
But there's so few soups, like it would mean the end of existence. Like
yeah.
they can't really breed. It's only happened like a few times.
Well, they're not averse to an orgy, are they? So they could all get together and repopulate.
But no, but the thing,
I don't think they can breed properly, can they?
It's really difficult for soups to have kids. Like Homelander having that one kid is supposed to be like a this has never sort of happened before kind of thing. And then the other one, the Newman, she has the daughter, but it's supposed to be super rare for like soup powered.
Yeah, didn't they say about when they're in the last season when she was in the hostel? They did the episode about her being in the hostel and stuff, and that about. I think they've covered it saying that like.
Yeah, it was
no, they said about Homelander when he was born, right, in this season, where he came out and he pretty much just murdered everyone in the room and fucking lasered his mum open and stuff and just flew out and then killed like 5 or 6 people. And
so like if you killed all the humans and there were only soups left, if they could have like one kid a year, it would not be enough to repopulate the planet. So wouldn't really work that way. It would still be, they'd rule over the ash heap, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll have to see.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see where that goes. Yeah, so, it's very good. So let's talk this turkey. Acolyte!
At least the Acolyte is over.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Positive notes. The lightsaber fights were good again.
I wrote a good, the bad, and the ugly.
All right, you run through that list, and then John can go through his 2 hours that he's got on this.
I'll probably be able to go more depth. I mean, I'm just sketching this up before we started, but good. I like the Stranger character, or Kimir, or whatever his name was.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah, I like him. He's a good character.
I like the lightsaber battles. I like the Darth Plagueis drop. I like the fact that they went to a planet that looked like.
Mute his mic again.
What's that? Sorry.
I said,
mute your mic.
I like the Act 2 planet. Was it Act 2 from Last Jedi? I like the.
They never confirmed it was.
I kind of like the fact that we kind of know it is.
We kind of think it is, but it's never confirmed.
But it was. But Act 2 was a convergence planet, though, wasn't it?
Venestra, didn't like her at all. I didn't like the way Soul was stitched up. The twins thing was crap and played out. The ambition was really weak in the show. I think they could have pushed it so much further. The space witches were rubbish. They should have just used the Night Sisters. And then ugly.
They are Night Sisters.
Yeah, but like the proper Night Sisters.
They are Night Sisters. That's all they are. They're just Night Sisters.
Make them look like the ones from the Clone Wars and stuff. I don't want to see this new strain. Just do the ones we know. And then the ugly Basil, absolutely crap, sniffing all the time, rubbish.
Gotta sell a toy somehow.
The Camp Jedi was just. The dialogue,
exactly.
The acting, the fact you had a Wookiee Jedi and he hardly did anything, and then the bit where she cut her braids off with a lightsaber was just so pony. It was unreal. But yeah, that's my quick rundown. I'll let John divulge a bit deeper.
I have much worse notes.
I imagine.
Let me go. Let me go first. It was a bit meh. That's it. There you go. You can go.
It's pretty late.
It was
so,
100%.
Watching Kalnaka do that fight sequence from episode 7, I want a show with just Kalnaka. The Wookiee. I want a show where he doesn't speak English. He just makes the growls, and people are like, "Oh yeah, I understand what you're saying." But I want to show him.
Underused character.
So underused, but watching him fight and everything was fantastic.
Yeah.
And it just sucks that we only got that 2-minute clip of him. They have spaceships. I'm going through episode 7. My notes for 7. They have spaceships, but not one of the spaceships could see the giant castle that the Space Witches lived in.
That was weird.
It's a big castle. It had to be hundreds of feet high that they had to climb to get into it.
Like a sore
You're telling me a spaceship didn't see that while it was surveying the planet? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, agree.
For some reason, that one scene, Soul sees the girls for half a second and is instantly in lust. Like he's
hang on. So yeah, he's 2 steps away from having a white panel van when it parks up outside of school.
He sees her for a second and he starts shaking and trembling like he.
We had this conversation the other day, didn't we? I forgot we had this conversation. Me and John and I spoke the other day, and I was just laughing for ages that like Soul's clearly just like a Jedi paedophile.
Yeah, he's a Catholic priest. He becomes a Catholic priest within 5 seconds of seeing this child. They don't ever
it makes it so sinister. It's so true.
He has seen children before, I'm sure. They've never explained why he didn't go into seizures when he saw any other children, but he saw these 2 girls, and instantly he was in love and had to have them. And
they obviously fired up his lightsaber.
Fucking strange. I know that the writer, the director, she had this philosophy of like the Jedi are flawed and the underdogs are the Sith. Like she wanted us to like root for the underdogs, but like the Jedi in the story, they came in peace. They didn't want to attack anybody, and Indara said don't attack, don't do fuck anything. The second they walk in the room, Anastasia takes over Torben and attacks him, and it's like, so they clearly are the bad ones. They're evil. They attacked on sight without any provocation.
When the mother turned into that smoky monster.
Well, I'm getting to that.
Soul reacted in defense.
It's on my list.
Yeah, but yeah.
One person split in 2. Where the hell did that come from? I don't understand that story. That's just, and it was such a wasted storyline. Some people said, and then some people were like that mist power where Anastasia turns into like black smoke, and then Coral turns into black smoke. They're like, we've never seen that before. Sure, we have. Have you watched the Clone Wars animated series? Mother Talzin did that a bunch of times. She would travel by mist. It's definitely a power we've seen before. These were Night Sisters from the very beginning, just a different sect from the ones we see in the Clone Wars cartoon. Torben and Kelnaka did nothing wrong. The entire storyline of Kelnaka going into exile and Torben putting himself into solitary confinement and then taking poison rather than just being like, I did nothing wrong, made absolutely no sense by the end of the story. No sense. It makes no sense. On to episode 8. So Asha completes May's mission. May's mission was to kill a Jedi without a weapon, but she kills Indara with a blade. She kills Torben with poison, and she doesn't kill Kelnaka. Kimir kills Kelnaka, but she finally kills a Jedi without a weapon. She used Force Choke on Soul. I did say at the beginning that May and Asha were going to switch places. And Asha obviously goes to the dark side, and May, through some really shitty writing, loses conveniently all of her memories. That's great. That worked out real well. And so here's my point with what you said. Why didn't Soul say that Anastasia turned into evil smoke? Because May was like, "You killed Mother," and he's like, "Yeah, I did."
Yeah,
but at no point does he stop and be like,
defend himself at all.
Okay, maybe I killed her, but at the time she turned into a cloud of evil smoke and was encompassing us. What was I supposed to do? Like, the explanation would have completely justified his actions. He just didn't bother to say it.
Kind of an aggressive
that
move.
is called lazy fucking writing, is what that is.
Poor Soul, what a stitch up.
Also, when May is escaping the ship at the beginning, she says, "See you in hell, Jedi." And I've looked it up because I was positive I knew the answer. There is no hell in Star Wars. Nobody believes in hell, so why would she say "see you in hell" in a universe where hell doesn't exist? This is called bad writing. It is also called not knowing what you're writing about.
Also, that goes back. Why did Basil sabotage this ship?
Yeah, I didn't get that. That was a bit weird. Like,
just say bad writing when something doesn't fucking make any sense, because that's all it is. It's just bad writing. The slow-mo in the fights, it just looks so fake. Like, the lightsaber fights in the show were great, but the part where they're in, like, slow-mo dodging each other...
Yeah, some of that looked like very bad wire work.
After Kamir gets his lightsaber cut, he tosses it away. But only the head of the emitter was cut, and there is a small blade in the hilt.
Yeah, I thought
Why
that.
didn't he take this small blade out? Is that... Oh, wait, bad writing. I forgot to reference that it was also bad writing.
And then, point I was going to make.
There was a line where May said, I saw him kill Mother with my own eyes. But if you track the story, she cannot possibly have seen that. She sabotaged the gates. She then ran into the thing. She was told to run away. She ran into the thing. She found Asha in her room and lit the room on fire. Somehow she lit stone on fire with a candle because of bad writing. But
the thing I found really...
Like, she cannot possibly have seen Soul kill the mother. There's no chance in hell that could have happened. There's no timeline in which that could have occurred. I still have a whole nother page. So if you
the thing I found very, like, silly was how, like, as it gets towards the end, and spoilers, where the bald-headed green chick, I can't remember her name now, but they started just to stitch Soul up, like totally outside of Jedi characters, to cover shit up. It's very.
I have a theory.
I think she's Sith, but I think it's a very Sith thing to do, because there was conversation. She sounded like she was talking to a Palpatine at one point. It sounded like Palpatine, but it's very.
Palpatine can't be alive.
No, they can't. But like, it's very
Could be with bad writing.
Could be bad writing. He could have been living for hundreds of years before that.
How did I forget bad writing?
But it's very like how they just covered everything. Like, she stitched him up completely. So he was a rogue Jedi, and he went off and he did this and did that. Like, with no kind of point. It's like, it's a very un-Jedi thing to do. But then but again, she has, like, you just have a bit of a feeling about it that she's a bit dodge anyway.
Something is up with her for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
But like, yeah.
During the fight with Saul and Kamir, they're both right-handed. Saul is right-handed. Kamir is right-handed. When Saul cuts Kamir's lightsaber, somehow he cuts off the emitter without cutting through Kamir.
Yeah, I thought that was a bit weird as well, because he come across whole.
Again, he goes right through, cuts the emitter.
He come through full bodied, and he had his hand on
from cutting him in half. I don't understand. Doesn't make sense. Soul's reasoning for what he did made absolute sense. The Jedi were not going to allow her to be trained. For her to be trained, he had to bend the truth, and we've definitely seen that before. Like, from a certain point of view, is the Jedi, as Kenobi used to say.
Yeah, but didn't Qui-Gon Jinn do that with Anakin? Like, he's too old to be trained. We can't train him, but he's like,
they can see things through a certain point of view. It's fine. But his reasoning for what he did made absolute sense. And if he had just spent 30 seconds being like, she turned herself into evil black mist, I feel like he would have been justified even to the children. What was the point? Okay, I may have solved this one, but what was the point of Venestra being sick in space travel? It added nothing to the story. But
yeah, they mentioned that a few times as well.
Wasn't that just a link to the character book in the novel?
Yeah. I either look it up, and the reason is because she is very, very old, and I guess she exists in the books or the comics as like a younger Jedi.
Yeah.
And that storyline comes from there. So they're just like tossing in some lines from canon. Why couldn't both the girls be trained? Did that not make any sense? At the end, they all escaped. All three of them escaped. They were all there. Why couldn't Kamir take both of the girls with them to be trained properly? The rule of 2 doesn't necessarily apply. The rule of 2 only existed because if you had more than 2, they tried to kill each other. But these sisters were clearly not going to kill each other. So, like, why couldn't they all be treated? Why did she have to be sacrificed other than for bad writing?
Right, one more, John. One more.
And then to your point, why did Venestra lie? And I think Venestra will eventually be revealed to be some Sith. Like maybe she is Plagueis's current, like one of his current pupils.
Yeah.
And then, so I had a cleaner version of doing this, but I think we should rename the show to Star Wars The Everlasting Cocktease. Because all the things they teased for this show coming up before it came out, they basically just screwed us for every one of them. So they're like, oh, there's going to be a character with a lightsaber whip. It showed up for one scene, for one action, and all she did was kill a bug. Hey, this show's going to have Carrie-Anne Moss. But not really. Only for about 3 minutes total screen time. We're going to have more than one Sith Lord. But not really. He's only going to appear in one shadowed scene, and he's never going to have a single line of dialogue. And then, by the way, we're also going to have Yoda, but not really. Only for 3 seconds from the back of his head. Like, everything they promised for this show is just unfulfilling.
But that's also the other thing.
The show feels like half a hand job, for Christ's sake. Every time.
If Yoda doesn't know that Venestra bird is, like, Sith or whatever, then he's been duped. That would be the first time.
Such a long time.
Yeah, and then surely by that point he'd have learned to go, oh, actually that dude's a Sith. But surely by the time he gets a Phantom Menace,
so
like,
there is a canon excuse for why the Jedi did not know that Palpatine was the Sith Lord, and it's because they built their temple on a Sith hotspot. Like on a Sith temple, on a Sith hotspot where they had extra power, and they built their temple on top of it. And over the years, the power of that Sith vergence, I guess, leached in, and it clouded all of their visions. Which is why, by the time it came around to Palpatine, they couldn't sense him because they were so used to feeling this evil Sith presence all the time that they couldn't sense that one was standing right in front of them. So I wonder if that's how they're going to explain the Venestra thing as well, where it's like they couldn't sense that she had evil motives because the temple itself had already sort of been corrupted by Sith energy.
Yeah.
That's intriguing. I've not heard that one.
Yeah, I haven't heard that one before either.
Yeah, you can look that up. That's what they did. The temple was built on top of like a Sith vergence, and it sort of leached in, and it corrupted the things. That's why they couldn't see Palpatine. The show's not terrible. It's very mid. I think they should have done something completely different rather than have this giant long storyline that took 8 episodes to tell. I would have preferred a more cops-like story where it was just like, here's what a day in the life of Jedi is. Like, more of like a Clone Wars animated show, but in live action in the High Republic era would have been a much better show.
It would only be good.
Eventually, like, adding in some Sith stuff near the end.
Yeah, but then they would have to start with like bad boys, and that's how they'd have to start each episode. All right, let's move on from that then. So now we're going to move into trailers, and the first one I've got lined up is Gladiator II. Gladiator. Basically.
Now that Acolyte is done, I'm going to give it like a...
Oh yeah, we haven't rated it. Yeah, that's.
I'm going to give it a 4 now that it's done.
I think that's fair. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Lightsaber fights. The lightsaber fights were excellent. Everything else is just full of really crappy writing and things that don't make any sense, like fire in space and whatever. Like stuff that just made no sense.
It was easily the worst of the Star Wars series.
Oh yeah, by far.
By a country mile. Even worse than Book of Boba Fett.
Full on
Skeleton Crew is supposed to be coming by the end of the year. Maybe that'll be better.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. So Gladiator, we've all watched that trailer, haven't we?
I did.
So basically, the dude in it is Thingy's son, who when he had a piece of that, is that dude's sister from the first one. Yeah.
Very eloquently put.
Yeah. That's what I gathered. I was watching my wife. She's like, no, it's all right. I said, watch the trailer again. It's clearly that dude. They start with that kid. That kid is clearly that kid, and then he's going on a bit of a vengeance thing, and the rest of the story will fill its way in.
I mean, let's face it, we're just there for arena action and.
Yeah. I want to see tigers eating people.
It almost feels like a tenuous attempt to connect it to the Gladiator film when it doesn't really need to be. It can just be a whole new Gladiator film with brand new characters. I don't even think it needs to connect, to be honest.
Not gonna lie, I will definitely go and see that in the theater unless like some worse trailers come out. It looks good enough that I will go and see it.
It looks fun. I mean, I love the ships. I mean, they actually did that, didn't they? They flooded the amphitheatres and actually had sea battles.
Yeah, they did that. Yeah,
it looks wild. And you got Joseph Quinn popping up as one of those crazy Roman emperors. They look like two brothers, I think they are.
Yeah.
It looks fun. Denzel Washington, always great.
Denzel being Denzel.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if Denzel Washington is supposed to be the African guy from the first movie.
Oh, the Demon.
Aged up, yeah. It was Timon Honsu from the first one. He had a different name, but it wouldn't surprise me if when that guy got free, he gave himself a new name, and maybe this is him. Possibly not. I thought
maybe.
Was.
It looked good. Again, we'll see it. There's no two ways about it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Gladiator's fantastic, and more of the same is going to get me in the cinema for sure.
So right, so next one, which is why I was late. I was watching this before we started, so I can watch it. Is Alien Romulus. It looks quality. If it's as good as the trailer is, it looks like.
It's a sequel to Alien, but a prequel to Aliens.
Yeah.
So it takes place between the first and second movie.
Yeah, if it's as good as what the trailers are, then I'm 100%.
I mean, Fede Alvarez, who directed the Evil Dead remake, he did a fantastic job. So he's going to go really hard with the horror element, which is what I'd love to. What I think I want to see again. More harking back to the original. It looks fantastic. I think it's going to be one of the best films of the year, if I'm being.
And they also announced that the Alien TV show has just wrapped filming. It's going to be called Alien Earth, so it's going to be these xenomorphs on Earth.
See, I thought that's what this was. I didn't realise this was a movie. I thought it was a TV series.
Filming Alien Romulus until I saw the trailer. I didn't even know this was coming.
Yeah, it looks quality. It looks really good.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's called Romulus. I wonder if there's going to be a link to Remus as well, because that's the name of twin Roman emperors, isn't it, or something?
It must be the name of the ship.
It's got to be Remus, or whether there'll be a twin vessel.
Well, it's name of the space station. They say it in the trailer. Welcome to the Romulus space station.
Ah, there you go.
Is it a space station? But I just wonder if there's another link and they set up.
Well, another space station might be Remus.
Yes, maybe it connects in some way to another outbreak. I don't know, but it looks great. Really, I can imagine it's going to be quite violent and gory as well.
So, like the final trailer we've got. Sorry, John. Is
No, we get two more.
Have we? I've only got Captain America: New World on here.
And Agatha all along.
Oh yeah, shit. I didn't get an image for that one. I'll do that while we're talking. Yeah, Captain America looks alright. I don't know if a bit kind of over marveled.
Captain America is my favorite Marvel hero, but it's Steve Rogers that's my favorite hero. I don't know how good this is going to be. I will see it in theaters. Hulk looks too red. I'm a big fan of Harrison Ford,
quite in advance. So the red's probably going to be it's early special effects. They're obviously going to pull back on that, I imagine. To me, I like the fact that it's got more of a grounded Winter Soldier kind of feel to it.
Yeah, more real world kind of kind of thing.
We'll see what it's like. It's just like the government trying to put Cap under their power again. And there's a line in the movie. It's like you might be Captain America, but you're not Steve Rogers, and that is the point. Steve Rogers always did the right thing, whether it was the thing the government wanted him to do, SHIELD wanted him to do. He always did the right thing, and I don't know what I'm to expect out of this.
I mean, given all of the issues they've had with refilming and stuff, I was actually.
Apparently the budget is now $370 $5 million.
I was glad
they
it actually
essentially had to shoot the movie twice.
But it looked good, so I'm glad if they have scrapped whatever awful thing they were doing before. This looks promising.
Well, they wanted it. They were introducing a character called Sabra, who from the comics is like an Israeli counter-terrorist that does a lot of evil things.
Giancarlo.
No, it's a female.
Oh,
so
okay.
the reason, one of the things they did in all the reshoots is they took out like all the references to her being like an Israeli counter-terrorist and made her like a SHIELD agent because of what's happening in the world. They didn't want to address that part. Giancarlo Esposito still won't reveal the name of his character. A lot of people thought he was GW Bridge.
That's what I'd read.
An X-Force character.
Yeah.
But he has said that nobody has guessed the name of his character yet. He looks like GW Bridge, not gonna lie.
That's how I thought it was. That's
nobody has
interesting.
nailed who he is yet, so...
I mean, he's a great actor. He does Menace very well, so that elevates it straight away, I think.
I will see it. I'm just holding a lot of hope in reserve that it'll be good, considering what Marvel has put out recently and the fact that this movie essentially had to be shot twice.
Yeah, that is worrying. I'm not gonna.
I don't have a lot of faith in it, but we'll see.
Fingers crossed for that one. I think we're all big Captain America fans, so I want the best for it, really.
Yeah, hopefully it'll do all right. But.
And then the last one we have is Agatha.
Yeah, I haven't got an image for that because if I load it in, it's going to mess things up. So we'll just have to talk about it. I completely forgot.
Well, I thought WandaVision was the best Marvel TV series.
Yeah.
So I'm intrigued to see what they do with the character. Basically, it's not a character.
Me too. And Aubrey Plaza. Aubrey Plaza is going to be in this. I love Aubrey Plaza.
She's great. She's fantastic. I mean, it looks fun. It looks quite dark, which is good.
The only downside I would have to this is Marvel kind of abandoned their witches and evil monsters universe part. So, like, where is this show going to go? Like, Agatha is clearly not going to be the next Avengers villain. So, like, what is the point of this show now that Wanda's not really going to be in it? And I don't know that Benedict Cumberbatch is really going to come back for more, like, another Doctor Strange movie. So, like,
see it as more
where is this exactly going to go with Agatha?
It's a self-contained thing, maybe like the Moon Knight series was.
Maybe,
yeah.
Like just a bit of fun with another character.
Well, I think they had bigger plans for it, but when they did their Halloween special a few years ago, not a lot of people watched it. And then since that, they've kind of killed off Wanda, at least for now. And the last Doctor Strange did not do as well as they wanted, so maybe there's not going to be another one. It's like all the magical universe they were trying to create has kind of fallen to the wayside. Plus, with all the failures they've had recently, they're cutting back on the extra stuff that they're going to be doing.
Maybe it will segue into Doctor Strange 3 because you had the Charlize Theron character.
Yeah, but I've not heard anything about a Doctor Strange 3.
No, nor do I. But I mean, it could be they might retrofit it into something like that and then round it all off and make.
I've heard Marvel's trying to sign the Russos for the next 2 Avengers movies.
Yes, I heard that today. That's great news.
Going back to the people that actually made good movies.
Yeah, I'm very happy about
that. Yeah, that'd be good.
Hiring other people. So, I know we're all planning on seeing Deadpool when it comes out next week.
Yep, seeing that.
And for the first time in many years, Marvel will be going to San Diego Comic-Con, and I think they have a show, like an actual hall performance, the day after Deadpool and Wolverine comes out. So the rumor is they're going to be launching something big at that time. Because whenever they do the shows at San Diego, it's always some big reveal. So I think we're likely going to get some Fantastic Four stuff. We're definitely going to get some X-Men stuff.
Yeah.
We're going to see... Like, the fact that they're doing it the day after Deadpool, not before, means, like, whatever's going to happen in that movie, they're going to reveal some stuff that comes after.
Well, there's been some great word of mouth on sort of 35-minute previews they've been showing to critics, who are saying it's going to reinvent the Marvel Universe and all this kind of stuff. So, you're right. I think, good. I want it back on track. I want to get excited again about Marvel. You know, they've had their wobble, but we'll forgive them if they can bring it back in style.
those pictures of Lady Deadpool have been circling the internet.
I still think it's Caitlin Olsen. That's my guess on that one.
I don't think so. I think most likely it's Blake Lively. But I do agree with some of the people who think that it's going to be Ryan Reynolds' face on that body.
Yeah, that could be
in a wig, in like a blonde wig. And if it's not, I am willing to bet that Ryan Reynolds is kicking himself for not coming up with that idea for the movie. If he heard that after, he's like, "Fuck, I should have done that."
Yeah, for sure.
Because that would have been so good.
Yeah,
But I do think I think more likely than anything, it's going to be Blake Lively in that costume. Although I do know that Taylor Swift apparently loves wearing his Deadpool costume. She has taken it from him and worn it a few times. So,
well, that would be but that would be equally as funny if it was Taylor Swift, right? Like,
for sure.
And Swift and Lively both essentially have the same body type, so looking at it, you can't tell.
I don't think they can fail. Whoever it is, it's going to get a reaction.
But it's like with the dog, isn't it? Like the Deadpool dog and stuff. Like there's just multiple versions of him kicking about, which will be funny.
So, do we have a question of the day, John?
I do, and specifically because I couldn't watch The Boys before this, I'm going to do one that's going to upset you.
It's not a spoiler, is it?
So, question of the day, it's two-part. First one, should movie theaters die?
No.
Brutal.
I will take the opposite. I think they should kill off most of them.
Andy, mute him.
Keep some theaters for like the big event showings. If a new Star Wars or whatever comes out, maybe it gets like a week engagement and you can go see it there if you want. But I do think that the movie companies would make more money if you rented those movies at home. So they would charge more for a ticket. But when you think about it, if you don't have to pay for gas or a bus or a cab to get to a theater, if you don't have, I don't know what you guys pay for stuff over there, but like it's $8 or $9 for a large drink here, and that drink is maybe a can and a half to 2 cans. Popcorn is probably like $8 or $9. So like, if even if your ticket for renting it was $25 instead of $18 or whatever, you'd still save money if you also bought a drink in renting it at home, watching it on your TV. But the theaters could also run, like we'd have less theaters, but you could still run those movies for people who wanted to go and see them in theaters.
I don't think you can beat seeing a film on the biggest screen with the best sound.
But not every movie needs to be seen that way. I will admit that big sci-fi or big action epics might be better, but so many movies are not that anymore. And like, it's such a waste. When was the last time you went to a movie theater was more than half full?
Yeah, you got a point.
You know, like there's no point in having these giant buildings that are charging us more and more money every year for a movie and more money for concessions and whatnot, when I'd rather watch it at home on my TV. I mean, I would see more movies if I could watch them at home than if I had to go through the whole epic of fucking getting to a movie theater.
Yeah, but they won't make the same amount of money at home.
They would make more money if it was at home.
I don't think they would. I don't think people would bother.
You have to pay your employees when you have theaters. They have to pay for the buildings, for all the other stuff. If you didn't have to pay for all that, the rental of the movie is 100% profit.
But I think
if you're on your own and say they charge $50. But I'll
say they charge $25.
But I'm saying, what if they charge more? Because then they've got you over a barrel. So if you're a family of 5, that's probably good value because it breaks it down to $10 each for seeing it. But if you're just living on your own, then you've got to stump up $50.
I don't think they will charge people $50. I would say it'd be about $25 for a rental, like a single watch maybe, or a 24-hour period.
The interesting thing...
I'm not saying you rent it for a month. I'm not saying you own it from the $25, you just get 24 hours to watch.
that model would work better if certain films were categorized. So a big blockbuster like a Marvel or a Star Wars is top tier price, but then a small film like
cascade down.
Nature or something like that is
you could absolutely
$10
do
or something.
See, I think
you could absolutely do that. You could
that
absolutely
could work.
What would be interesting, because obviously when COVID happened and stuff, and they started doing this, like watching movies at home and rent the movies to watch them because the cinemas are closed down. It'd be interesting to see what the data on that was, because I see stuff come up now on like Amazon. The chance I've seen it already at cinema anyway. But then I'll just kind of look at it and I'll go, well, I'm not paying 15 quid to see it, because I can just wait until it comes on Netflix or Amazon. I'll just wait.
I think it would lead to more piracy.
Potentially,
people
yeah.
Be able to record them from the comfort of their own homes. It's harder to do that in cinema.
But you wouldn't get but they would have to have a service that you couldn't steal from. So it wouldn't be like, it'd be like watching it from Netflix or something, right? Like, it's not a service you could copy. They'd have to set up some sort of.
Yeah, you got good enough TV screen and a tripod and a decent enough camera. I mean, it's not going to be.
People do that now. Like the day the movie comes out, by the end of the evening, there'll be a copy on whatever.
Yeah, but it'll be less widespread, I'd have thought. I mean, I don't know. I know that the cinema is struggling, but I'm a die-hard cinema fan, so I can't.
Yes, we all know you're a die-hard cinema fan. We've dealt with this already.
So what's the second part of that question, then, John?
I think, regardless of how the question gets answered, movie theaters don't have much long left anyway.
Yeah, I tend to.
When was the last time you went to a movie theater that was full? When I go to see movies, most of the time,
Inside Out 2 was probably the last time.
Yeah, it was quite full. I think. What was the last thing we saw where it was rammed?
I go see movies. There's like 10 people in the theater, and I only go see blockbusters. I don't see all the small movies.
The thing is, like, well, the next movie I'll go and see that the cinema will be packed is Deadpool.
Deadpool will be packed.
That'll be packed because everyone will love it.
Deadpool will be packed on like day 1 and 2, maybe 3, like Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
But after that, the theaters will be empty.
Yeah. But it'll make its money. Well.
Good legs.
Yeah. Me and Spen are going to go and see it.
Viewings, I think, because I've already got two showings booked already. I've not even seen it.
Have you? I was going to say, do you want to go and see it?
I'll probably see it a third time.
Yeah, for sure. We'll go and watch it together and catch up.
Yeah, definitely.
But like, yeah, it's interesting to see what happened. What was the second part of your question?
Second part of the question is, movies are currently calculated, like their popularity or whatever, is on how much money they bring in. But do you think that a better way of rating movies would be by how many seats get filled? Because you can see a movie for $12 or you can see a movie for $22, at least here in Ottawa. Not sure about you guys. So, like, when it says, like, a movie made $10 million, well, what does that mean in terms of seats? Because there is a wide range of prices that you can go and see a movie at.
Yeah, but...
So would it make not more sense to say, like, oh, in its opening weekend, 3 million people saw this movie, rather than saying the movie made $15 million or $25 million or something?
Well, isn't that the metric for that kind of, well, the amount of money that they make from it, isn't that kind of the metric for that anyway, is bums on seats?
Well, no, because, like I'm saying, here in Ottawa, I can go and see a movie for about $12, or I can go and see the same movie in a higher quality theater for like $22. So, because there's such a difference in pricing, saying that a movie made $100 million is not indicative of actually how many people went to see the movie, because depending on the price that those people paid, that could be, 5 million people, or it could be 10 million people. Like you don't.
So did they change the metrics to be bums on seats rather than?
I mean, that doesn't,
So it's like on its opening weekend,
but,
this movie had we have confirmed this movie sold 15 million seats.
But I think they would have that metric anyway. I think they would have that metric anyway to be like
Yeah, but should they not be releasing that metric? Because that's more.
I don't know. I reckon you could probably.
It doesn't bother me. It won't persuade me to see a film if more people have seen it. I'll see it based on the trailer, based on my own interest level, and based on reviews.
You liar! You go and see every movie that hits the theater.
I don't care about if it's.
You saw 37 movies in the last 2 weeks. Don't tell me base that on trailers.
He has.
Movies look terrible, and you saw all 37.
I'm watching all these trailers. I'm reading about them. A lot of these films, you got to remember, we get them slower than you guys. So a lot of these will have been shown in film festivals in America, and I'll have read up on them like last year and be waiting for them. It just happens that they've all come at once.
Yeah. It is interesting.
I'm just a movie lover, John. That's all there is to it.
It's interesting to, like, I think if they ran with that metric for some stuff, but not others, like, because in the end, who cares about they made that much money? Well, it's only industry.
That doesn't bother me either. I just want to know if it's good or bad.
Yeah, it's only industry people.
Especially historical. Like, I'd love to go back and do not the calculations, but get the actual numbers. Like, how many people actually went and saw E.T. compared to how many people have seen Star Wars, compared to how many people have seen Alien or Jaws or whatever. Like, I want to know the actual seat number, not the value they get off of them.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you could see movies for like $6. So is it fair to say, like, oh, E.T. only made this much money? Now fucking, Captain America.
To be honest, I reckon you could probably find.
That's not really fair.
I reckon you could probably
now cost 5 times as much as they did.
I reckon you could probably find that information online. To be honest.
Yeah, but you get.
I think that's what they should be using instead of
metrics. If you're that interested in it.
But again, you can't just use the inflation metrics because ticket prices were different. If you went on a Tuesday, movies used to be half price.
I guess it'd be too hard to collate that kind of data across so many cinemas around the world.
The theater should have known what it was. Like, what would the top 10 movies look like if we counted it by seats as opposed to money? Because every time a movie gets re-released, like Avatar, the first one, was re-released like 5 times in theaters. So the reason it's so high on the chart is because every time it gets released, the money it makes gets added to its total. But if you looked at how many people actually went as opposed to how much money they made, I wonder where it would actually sit. Because when Avatar came out, ticket prices were more expensive than when, say, E.T. came out, or Jaws came out, or Star Wars came out the first time. Like... Star Wars has been re-released in theaters, what must be dozens of times over the last few years, or since it came out. So if you were to look at it, it'd be like, over the
popular film of all time,
over like 4 decades, how many people have actually seen Star Wars in theaters compared to how many people have seen Avatar? Because Star Wars, when it came out, ticket prices were $4, and when Avatar came out, they were $17. Like, it's a huge difference. It would make a difference in the numbers for sure. And you're right. Movies like Gone with the Wind or whatever that play in theaters
had more bums on seats than any film in history, didn't it?
It would be interesting to see the actual number count for those movies as opposed to the dollar count.
God, that's a question for a Thursday evening, isn't it? I've had a really busy brain day today as well. I've had a proper intense thinking day, and then John's just added more on it. I think we're nearly at an hour 20, so I think it's time to call that one. But it's been good, fellas. It's been good.
Yeah, next episode Deadpool.
Next episode.
Yeah, woo! And the boys finale.
I'm going to see Twisters. And
I'm seeing Twisters. I'm seeing Twisters Saturday. So we can talk that as well.
Wolverine on the same day.
Yeah, we can talk.
We'll be hanging on for hopefully a second season of the Acolyte.
Yeah, for sure.
We will we'll get the boys finale on the next episode. We should get House of the Dragon maybe on the next episode, the finale.
Yeah, hopefully. Cool. Right, we'll wrap up there, fellas. Cheers. And we'll see you all again soon. Remember to like and subscribe. Cheers. Bye-bye.